Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Carolyn if you're new here, and if you're not new here, thank you for coming back. I thought I could film a new video about some GLP-1 updates. I think the last video I shared was my GLP-1 journey from last year, right before I got married, and I think it's due for an update. So let's get into it. Just to recap, if this is the first video of mine that you're watching, I started a GLP-1 medication back in September of 2022. I started on Mounjaro, and it was a telehealth clinic called Sequence at the time when it started, but I think in like 2023-ish, it was bought out or acquired by Weight Watchers Clinic, so that's what it's been ever since. And I've been on it since I started my GLP-1 medication, but you can go through your primary care provider or your bariatric surgery center or an endocrinologist, something like that. I just happened to be following Dr. Nadolsky at the time, who was one of the founders, I believe, of Sequence, and then he was at Weight Watchers for a short time after they bought it, and then he left, and he's since started his own telehealth clinic that's a lot more comprehensive. It's called Vineyard, and I haven't made the switch yet. I've been using Sequence / Weight Watchers Clinic ever since I started. It's an online telehealth clinic, and you are paired with a care coordinator and a provider after you take a quiz to see if you qualify. I always tell people to call your insurance to see if any GLP-1 medications are covered before you sign up for Weight Watchers Clinic, because I always hate when people sign up and then they find out nothing's covered. That hurts my heart. They do have compounded medications, but that's not something I personally recommend. But I've had the same provider on there since I started, which I love. He's amazing, and they handled all of my insurance stuff. I had to get a prior authorization, and they helped me get that approved. They sent in all the documentation and all that stuff. So I have really enjoyed my experience with them. I know other people have not, and that's okay. I think you have to find a service and a provider that works best for you, and there are so many GLP-1 companies that pop up on a day-to-day basis. I get emails all the time asking to collaborate and stuff like that, and I am very wary. Obviously, I do work with Weight Watchers Clinic in some capacity. I do occasionally do some sponsored posts for them on Instagram, and I was in the Weight Watchers Super Bowl ad. So I'm restricted in that sense from working with other companies, but I would be incredibly selective if I were to work with other companies. I know like Mochi is kind of in a little bit of a pickle right now. I haven't read too much into it, but just be really careful, and I definitely would recommend going to your primary care provider or your bariatric provider first if you can. I didn't at the time and wish I had. I didn't have a primary care provider at the time, so I wish I had spent more time doing that. But I also really love the telehealth side of it. I can message my provider or care coordinator at any time and get my answer within 24 hours. So for me, it's just worked, and I don't need a lot of hand-holding. Some people prefer a lot more communication and contact with their doctor, which I think is something that Dr. Nadolsky has been doing with his new company, Vineyard. And so I'll leave Weight Watchers Clinic and Vineyard linked down below in case you're curious about either. I love Dr. Nadolsky. I think he's amazing. And the reason I haven't made the switch to his clinic yet is because I'm currently tapering down on Zepbound because we are hoping to start a family within the next year or two, and I can't be on this medication if I'm pregnant. So in my first year, I lost 50 pounds, and in my second year, I lost 10. And I've been maintaining between 170 and 180 pounds ever since. The highest dose I was on was 12.5 milligrams. I got all the way up to that last year. I was on it for a long time. And then last year is when I started tapering down. I'm so sorry for my dog. She goes crazy when there's people outside. So I started tapering down last year slowly, went down from 12.5 to 10, was on 10 for several months, and then transitioned. At the end of the summer, I got onto the 7.5 milligram dose, and I was on that up until I had my plastic surgery. I had to stop taking Zepbound. Oh, I totally forgot to mention that at some point in like 2023, 2024, I transitioned to Zepbound because that's the one that's approved for obesity, but Mounjaro and Zepbound are the same compound, or the same medicine, tirzepatide. So I had to stop taking Zepbound 2 weeks before I had plastic surgery, and then I couldn't restart it again until 2 weeks after the surgery. So I was off of it for a month, and my provider thought that because I'd been off of it that long, it would probably be best to start back up on the 5 milligram dose. So that's what I've been on since, and honestly, I'm very happy with that. I think I'll continue to try to be on the 5 milligram dose for the rest of the year. I am starting a new job at the end of April, and I'm not sure about the insurance coverage situation. It's the same insurance company. It'll use Aetna, which I currently have Aetna, but it's company firm dependent on like what they choose to have covered. So who knows, honestly, but if it's not covered, okay. I don't even know where I was. So I guess we'll find out about that. If I can't get it covered, that's okay. I've been spacing them out. I've been taking them like every 10 days to 2 weeks. So I can slowly come off of it. The lowest dose is 2.5. So that's okay. And I have no idea how I'm going to react being off of it. Who knows? Who knows? But I can't be on it to try and have kids. So, and that won't happen until like next year. So I'll have at least a year between for my plastic surgery recovery. And this was always the plan. A big question I get asked is side effects. In the beginning, I experienced mild nausea and constipation, but I've been on it for so long now that I don't have any side effects, which is nice. And then I did have a little bit of insomnia where in the very beginning, I would wake up super early in the morning because I guess I was just full of energy. I don't know. I've heard some other people experience the same thing, but along with the whole coming off of it to have kids or whatever, I always get asked if I'm gonna be on it indefinitely or forever, and it is meant to be a long-term treatment. Like, you're meant to be on it long-term because obesity is a chronic illness, and so this medication is meant to be a chronic treatment. Just like if you're on blood pressure medication, you typically continue to stay on blood pressure medication or anything like that. Or the fact that I'm on Skyrizi for my psoriasis, which is a chronic illness, which I do have to stop that as well before I get pregnant. But obviously I won't be on it forever because I'm gonna get off of it to have kids, but I definitely won't rule out starting it again once we're done having kids if I need it. And I'm not scared. I think probably gain a little bit, maybe, but I'm going to see. And if I need to implement some things that are a little bit more monitoring and strict, then I will do that. But that is the update. I can't think of anything else, honestly. It's just been something I've been taking for a long time now, and there's very little updates, but I figured I would update you since it's been a year or so since I posted that last video, and I've been getting a lot of new faces on here and on Instagram. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Would love that. Thank you.